Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of, is it better to love or to be loved? I think many people will really consider these two things and not really think of them as different, but let's look at it this way. If you love someone but they don't love you back, how do you take that? Is it easy for you? And at the same time, what if it was the reverse? You loved, that person didn't love back. And at the same time, you can be loved in the way of a celebrity. Does that make sense? Well, think about it this way. So, take somebody that's a celebrity, such as Michael Jackson, for example. Well, he was definitely loved by many, many people around this world. He just was loved by all his fans. People were crying about him. People just loved his music. They just loved everything that was about him. But did he really love himself? Whenever I looked at interviews and stuff like that, he looked like he was kind of like a child stuck in a adult body, and he just had a lot of very weird quirks because of that, and I think he was very lonely. And that's the thing, is you can be loved by a multitude of people, but then at the same time you can literally be kind of ignored by people who would really love you. And that's the thing, you're not, by being so popular, he's not able to love the people that he would like to love because he can't get close to them. And that can go also with the fact of being in a relationship. You could be in a relationship with someone and you absolutely love this woman or man or whatever you want to love. Since we don't have any set genders anymore, there's so many different genders, I want to be sure that we encompass every one of you. As long as you love a human or a living creature, but then they don't love you back in the same way, or they kind of have that caring for you, but they don't love you in the same way. Well, that's basically what's going to create a failed relationship, because a lot of times you can't love something unconditionally and not loving you back without having pain. And sometimes, in a way, parents, especially the love of a mom, but can also be the love of a dad for their child or children, can be so strong and unconditional. But with time, I think those kids love them, but sometimes they're not able to reciprocate as much as they would like to, because it's unconditional. Think about it. You're basically, even though yes, it's something you gave birth to, that human being in itself is a total stranger in some way, and you take that total stranger that you don't even know the personality it's going to have in your house, and you love it from day one until the day, hopefully, that a parent dies before the kid. Because I think when you love something so unconditionally, then you would just be traumatized for losing it. And that's the thing. I don't really know if it is better to love or to be loved, but I can say from having loved that sometimes if it's not reciprocated, it can be extremely painful. And it's not something that can be controlled, because you can't control someone. It's not something that you do. It's not something that you say that can change those things. And I've also been at the spectrum where I've been loved so much, but I couldn't reciprocate. And you feel guilty, you feel bad, because you wish you could have those feelings, but you don't. And that's where it becomes very complicated, because we always think of life as just and equal and as something that has to have balance. But sometimes things just don't have balance. And when something doesn't have balance, well, you got to create the balance again. Otherwise, it basically destroys you or destroys the other person. But eventually, when either party or either thing is out of the picture, then the balance is again recreated. And I think that's where a lot of unhealthy stuff comes from our life, because sometimes we love something. It doesn't even have to be a human. It could be a love for sport, for basketball, for example, or love for music. But if it doesn't love you back in that same way, then it can be hard. Because, for example, me, like, I love acting, but the acting world has never been very kind to me. I haven't had a lot of rewards out of it. So sometimes, you get depressed. But at the same time, because you love it so much, you kind of do it and you keep on doing it. And it even goes with the fact of maybe even doing videos like these. You love doing them and you kind of put yourself out there, but people will either love it or they won't love it. And if somebody doesn't love it, you don't take it personal, obviously, because it's just an opinion and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're not super happy about it either, because you kind of pour your heart out to things, and then it's kind of like shot down right away by someone you don't even know. And then you think, did I do something wrong? Could I have done it better? Could I have explained it better? Should I have prepared more? Should I have, etc., 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 But that's what I'm trying to say, is that we need to, as human beings, learn to love, but also to be loved. And I think it's easy to be loved, but then it can also make us feel guilty, and sometimes it's harder to love. So I think that being said, we should try to love one another, even just as a society. And I'm not talking about the word love, I'm talking about the word love of the world, love of the people around you, love of life. That's something that's difficult, because there's just a lot of hate in this world. There's a lot of wars. People fight about properties. People fight about countries. People fight about their beliefs about religion, saying, no, I'm right, you're right. Well, what if both people are right? And what if it just isn't that important what the other person thinks? And they can just think whatever they're thinking, and it's not going to change anything in your life in some way. It's just going to change, like, not everything is the same. People don't have the same skin color, people don't have the same age, people don't have the same likes. So why does everybody have to be in that stereotype where only one religion is accepted, one religion is right, one right is right, one way of living is right? Well, what if the Western type of way, being in a city, being this kind of life, paying taxes, using money, is not the right way of life, and somebody might just be happier to be in a place that's not even a country, not even a citizenship, where it's just you in the forest and you're just being you. And if you have to get food, you have the choice of eating berries or killing animals to get your nutrition. So that's what I feel about love. So I guess definitely loving is harder than being loved, but it depends on the situation. As a human being to human being, one thing could be easier than the other, but in the end, I think it's more important